Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Talking Astros baseball here, as I've done most of the season here on my YouTube channel. I was away for a little bit. I know it's been a while since I've had an Astros video. I did an NFL video, as I've been promising for a little while now. Go check that out in my latest video, the one previous to this. But we're back on Astros baseball. If you missed my last video, go check it out. Like I said, I was a little under the weather. I had some stuff going on. Everything's okay. But I had to step away for a couple weeks, but I'm back. And just a little update on your Houston Astros. As I've said, I've talked all season long. If you haven't seen any of my videos, I recommend going to check them out. So the last series I did a preview for, and everything was the Astros versus Phillies. So I'm going to give a recap of the Astros series since then. There's been six of them, including the Phillies series, and then give you an Astros versus Padres series preview, which begins tonight, and then a couple updates on some injured players, one of them who has come back, and one of them who unfortunately has gotten hurt since the other one has come back. And just an Astros versus Padres series recap, just jumping back on, catching you up on Astros baseball. And well, with all that being said, I'm going to get right into it. The Astros versus Phillies series, which I said was my last series. The Astros went 1-2 against the Phillies. It was on the road. Then they came home to play the Kansas City Royals, which they swept them. So it seems a 5-2 record was off to a pretty good start. Unfortunately, they hit some woes in this stretch. They went 0-3 on the road against the Reds. They came back at home against the Diamondbacks, going 2-1. Then against the Athletics, they went 1-2 at home. And then against the Angels over the weekend, the most recent series, they swept them. To put that into total everything out, because you may have missed some things, the Astros went 11-8 since I recorded my last video. That's a pretty decent record, not great in a 19-game stretch, but it is a winning record nonetheless. That catches you up on everything you missed. I'm not going to go into every single series because that video would probably be way too long. And well, I've already missed too many things. It's all right. But during this time, we've had a couple of injured players, and one of them come back. And like I said, one of them go on the IL. One of the guys who has come back since then has been none other than Kyle Tucker. Finally, his return has been questioned for a while. It turned out he had the fractured shin, everything, blah, blah, blah. It's done and over with. Like I've been saying, since it happened, I'm not going to talk about him until, he's back. Well, Kyle Tucker's back, and let's go over his numbers since then. He's hitting 250 and a 367 on base percentage. So his numbers are just slightly down from where they were. If you see right here on September 6th, this is right about where his numbers were. He went 0 for 2 with a walk in his first game back and a strikeout, 264, 396 on base percentage. So since his return, 250 and a 367 on base percentage. So far, he has 6 hits and 24 at-bats, with 1 homer and 3 RBIs, 4 walks. The on-base percentage we like, just need to get his average back up there. And Kyle Tucker, he's been fine. Don't expect anything spectacular out of him, right out of the gate. 6 for 24 is decent. It's a little above league average, but, he needs some time to get his feet wet. He's appeared in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games so far. Since his return, I would expect him to be in the lineup tonight, hopefully back in right field. He did play right field once in this stretch, or twice in this stretch so far. So Kyle Tucker just kind of trying to, like I said, get his feet wet, get his feet back under him, getting him back to running full speed on a normal basis, and then expect him to be in right field permanently where he belongs in the postseason coming up. And then the other unfortunate, on the other side of injury news, on September 11th, today is the 16th, Chas McCormick went on the IL with a fracture in his right hand. His availability for the rest of the season is kind of to be determined. I think I've heard on the flip side that he could return maybe in that last week of the season, as, there's not many games left, but we will see. I'm not going to speculate on Chas McCormick, though it's kind of wait and see on him. I hope he can return because I want to show you his numbers since his he was demoted for about maybe like 4 or 5 games. And since it was kind of a wake-up call for him, he was 9 for 23 with a 391 average. He did not hit a homer, but 391 average, 9 for his last 23 before getting hurt, unfortunately fracturing that right hand. That's really good. Chaz, it seems he might have started to be figuring things out, which would have been huge for the left field / partially center field, because Jake Myers has just been below average at best. Maybe a couple of average games since returning, or excuse me, not returning, but since May when he had the best month of his career, and then June, July, August, he's been okay to bad. And so Chaz potentially taking over a few games in center field here and there. But unfortunately, Chaz, he might miss the rest of the year. He might be able to play in the playoffs. We don't know. But just some numbers to go over with Chaz McCormick. He was playing well and then unfortunately fractures his right hand. So kind of like I said, TBD on his availability. And I just want to catch everything up. I've missed some things, and you know what? Oh, well, it is what it is. So that's going to bring us to the portion of the video. The AOS standings, they need to be updated since my last video. It's been a while. The Astros 81-68 headed into tonight's 3-game series with the San Diego Padres. They are 4.5 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners. Astros are 6-4 in their last 10. The Mariners are 7-3, so the Mariners have gained a game over the last 10, but it's not nearly enough for them. Sucks to suck, Mariner fans, but you know what? The Astros have come and stolen the division. It's your own fault. You were up 10 games at one point, and the Astros were 7-19. And as you can see in the far right column over here, the Astros have almost a 98% chance to make the playoffs, and the Seattle Mariners have an 8% chance. The A's and the Angels are eliminated, and the Rangers have less than a 1% chance. They're technically still alive, but should be by the end of the week. The Rangers are eliminated from postseason contention. That's your AOS standings update. Brings us to Game 1 of the Astros versus Padres. Padres host the Astros in a 3-game series in San Diego. The Astros 81-68, first in the AL West. The San Diego Padres 85-65, second in the NL West, a couple games behind the Dodgers. Go Padres in that sake, except for in this series against my Astros. But the rest of the season, I'm a Padres fan because it seems like the last 15 years, the Dodgers have pretty much won the division every year. It'd be nice for a change in the AL West. The pitching matchup here, Spencer Arrighetti in Game 1 will face off with Yu Darvish, a battle of right-handers. Arrighetti 7-12, a 4.72 ERA, 131 2/3 innings pitched, 126 hits, and 158 strikeouts. Yu Darvish, who has missed a large portion of the year due to a family matter, 5-3. He missed over 2 months, 2+ months. 5-3 with the 3.52 ERA. 64 innings pitched, 56 hits, 62 strikeouts. Yu Darvish, if you remember, the Astros smacked him around in Game 7 of the 2017 World Series. Facing the Dodgers, he got the loss in that game. And, of course, the Astros got their first World Series in franchise history. Yu Darvish is now 38. He's not quite the same pitcher he used to be, as dominant as he was since he came over from Japan. But nonetheless, he can still be effective, so still a tough matchup for the Astros in Game 1. It's going to be 3 tough pitching matchups in this series. The Astros are bringing 3 of their best pitchers over the recent stretch, and the Padres are as well. It's going to be a tough series. Spencer Arrighetti's game log since the Phillies series, when I last spoke with everyone here on my channel. Arrighetti dominated the Phillies, if you remember that far back, in the only win in the Phillies series. 7 2/3. He carried a no-hitter into the 8th inning of that game. 7 2/3, 2 hits, no runs, no earned. It's the Astros won 10-0, 11 strikeouts. He dominated. His next 2 starts, he was not good against the Reds, lasting less than an inning. Only 3 earned runs, but gave up 9 runs in total. Arrighetti was just rocky, just getting smacked around. Obviously, a couple of errors that were in that game, if you remember. But Arrighetti just didn't have it. It's unfortunate. It happens to all pitchers. It's not just a rookie wall thing. And then against the A's, he pitched well, but the Astros just had a blunder in extra innings, had multiple guys on, couldn't bring guys around. 6 2/3, 2 earned runs, 2 runs in total, 1 homer given up, and 7 strikeouts. So Arrighetti's been pretty good as of late. If you scratch the Reds, series out of there. He's been good, and we'll see if he can live up to it. And his mound opponent, Yu Darvish, maybe the rookie can best the longtime Wiley veteran in Yu Darvish. And that's going to bring us to Yu Darvish's last couple of starts, really his last two starts since he's come back from his long stretch away from the team. He pitched 2 2/3 innings against the Tigers, just coming back 63 pitches, and then 5 innings against the Seattle Mariners in a 7-3 win. He picked up his 5th win of the year, 2 runs, 2 earned, 7 hits, and 5 strikeouts. It seems, I don't know everything about the Padres, but it seems he is probably going to be on a 75 to 80 pitch count tonight, maybe 85 tops. So maybe the Astros can jump on him early, as he's still trying to iron things out before the Padres, who are more than likely going to be in the playoffs. He's trying to get his feet wet and trying to get back into things to try to help the Padres in the postseason and be a starter for them, because he is one of their better starting pitchers. So, maybe he doesn't quite have things all figured out, just kind of like Justin Verlander, still trying to come back and get things straightened out before the postseason. The Astros trying to jump all over him, as they have a few times in the past. Game 2 of this series is another battle of right-handers, Hunter Brown versus Michael King. Michael King acquired, of course, in the Juan Soto deal with the Yankees in the offseason. And, well, Michael King has been worth every penny of that trade that they didn't have to pay Juan Soto, as we'll go over his numbers here in just a second. Hunter Brown, 11-8, a 3.59 ERA. The ERA has come way down since, as you remember, early in the season, the rocky start, to say the least, that he got off to the first month of the year. He's been one of the best starting pitchers in baseball since then. 11-8, 3.59 ERA, 158 innings even, 148 hits, 168 strikeouts. And then his mound opponent, Michael King, 12-9, a 3.06 ERA, 161 2/3 innings pitched, 136 hits, and 191 strikeouts. So 2 really good right-handers coming into this series. We'll see who takes home the win, or if either one of them take home a win. But like I said, there's going to be plenty of good pitching matchups in this series. Should be 3 good matchups. Runs could be at a premium in this series. Hunter Brown's recent 3 games against the Royals since we last spoke, 6 2/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, no earned. He picked up a no decision in that game. Then against the Reds, 6 innings of no runs. The Astros lost 1-0, one of the most infuriating games of the season. A game the Astros should have won. They probably could have swept the Reds, but that's another topic for another day. And then against the A's, he was not very good, picking up his 8th loss of the year. The Astros lost 5-4. He lost control in that 6th inning. He tried to get through 6. Maybe Espada should have pulled him, maybe not. But I trusted Hunter Brown. Unfortunately, he just didn't get the job done on this particular day. 5 innings, 5 runs, 5 earned, 7 strikeouts. Tried to get through 6. But it just didn't happen. Unfortunate for Brown, but he's still having a phenomenal breakout season for your Houston Astros. And then his mound opponent for that game is, of course, right-hander Michael King. His last couple of starts, 6 innings, 1 run against the Giants, picking up his 12th win of the year. And then the last start against the Mariners, losing 5-2, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, but only one of them earned, picking up the loss. As I mentioned, he is 12-9, 6 strikeouts in that game, but he did not pitch well enough, as the Seattle Mariners won that game 5-2. And then that's going to set up the series finale on Wednesday, which is going to be the Astros southpaw Framber Valdez, 14-6, 2.91 ERA. He is a dark horse in the Cy Young race. I still believe Tarek Skubal is going to win it, but Framber should definitely finish top 5, maybe 4th, 3rd at the highest, but definitely he should be in the top 5 of the AL Cy Young. And then Dylan Cease, to his own credit, having a nice season, a great offseason acquisition for the San Diego Padres, 13-11. His record doesn't show how well he's really pitched, in my opinion, in this season. 13-11, a 3.58 ERA, 176 innings pitched, 130 hits, and 215 strikeouts, one of the tops in Major League Baseball in strikeouts. And then, of course, some of the offensive numbers. The Padres have plenty of offensive firepower, even without Juan Soto. Manny Machado, their leader in home runs and RBIs, 26 homers, 98 RBIs. He is now the Padres' all-time leader in home runs. He has been there for quite a while. They have Luis Arias, and he's hitting 328 to 358 on base percentage. He's a phenomenal hitter. He does not strike out very often. And of course, they still have Xander Bogaerts and among other guys who can really get the job done. Fernando Tatis, Ha-Sung Kim. I mean, they're loaded. And of course, their rookie Jackson Merrill in center field. They're loaded just like the Astros lineup can be. I would say the Padres have a slightly better lineup, but that's just my opinion. And of course, it's going to be a really tough series. I think either it's going to be high scoring because the pitching can't figure out the offense, or it's going to be low scoring. I don't see much in between. And Yordan Alvarez leads the Astros in homers with 34, average at 308, and RBIs at 84. Recently, he took back over Yainer Diaz, who led the Astros in RBIs for a little while there. But Yainer is still having a phenomenal season to his credit. And that takes us to Framber Valdez. His last 3 starts, 7 innings, no earned against the Kansas City Royals, did not pick up the win. The Astros offense didn't pick him up, but they ended up still winning that game. And then he picked up the win against the Diamondbacks, 7 innings again, 2 hits, no runs, and back-to-back starts, picking up his 14th win of the year as he is 14-6. And then against the A's on Thursday, he went 6 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run, did not pick up the win yet again. In a start, he could easily have 16 or 17 wins so in this season. The Astros won the game 6-3. Luckily, they won. But Framber's been phenomenal in his last 3 starts, pitching 20 1/3 innings pitched, only giving up 1 run. I expect another good outing from Framber, even though it's on the road. But Framber is the ace of the staff, and the Astros need him to do a nice job as they need to win this series. That's to say the least. And then Dylan Cease, his last 3 starts, he's pitched 17 innings, 12 hits given up, 7 runs, all of them earned. Dylan Cease, 5 innings against the Rays, 2 hits, 3 runs, picked up a no decision. 6 innings, 4 runs, all of them earned, picking up a loss against the Giants. And then against the Giants again, 6 innings, no earned, and picking up a win with 10 strikeouts. Dylan Cease, for the most part, is a pretty good strikeout pitcher. So the Astros are going to have to be ready for that because, well, Cease is, like I said, he's a strikeout pitcher, and he can go off and strike out 10 or 12 in any start. Do not chase his off-speed pitches, or it's going to be a long night for the Astros on Wednesday to close out the series. That's going to do it for the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. The Astros have a rocky series potentially coming up against the Padres. They're going to have to take care of business, but luckily for them, they're usually better against teams with good records. So they play better against teams with over 500 records. And of course, the Padres, 85-65 coming into the series. We'll see if the Astros are up to the test. They're only meeting with the Padres this season, and they're playing on the road. The Astros have their hands full. Let's see what they can do against the Padres. That's going to do it for the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Clark Crawford here signing off on YouTube. Astros versus Padres series preview. I caught you up on all the Astros series. I didn't get a deep dive into them, unfortunately, but I caught you up with all the latest important Astros news, a couple of injuries, one guy, Kyle Tucker, coming back, McCormick getting hurt, and, of course, a couple other players that come back since then, like Ryan Presley, just little things like that. But nonetheless, the Astros are in a good spot. They're continuing to push forward to the playoffs. Their magic number is 9, as I talked to you here on Monday before the Astros versus Padres series kicks off. And, well, they're in a good spot, and let's see if maybe by the end of the week, if Seattle struggles and you take care of business, as the Astros are currently 1-4 in a row, that maybe by the end of the week, maybe we can hear about them clinching the division, and then they don't even have to worry about the last 6 games of the year, which will be against the Mariners, 3 at home, and then the Guardians, 3 on the road to finish the season. So that's going to do it for me here today. I hope you enjoyed. Like my video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Help me out. I'm trying to get to my next goal of 200 subscribers. If you want to be my next subscriber, hit that subscribe button on the page, and I'll talk to y'all on Thursday in my next NFL video.